Hi, we're Kevin Chris Waterhouse.
And we are Travelling Australia.
We're so glad you can join us on our adventures. Living the dream. We start our series from the eastern side of the Eyre Peninsula at the small seaside town of Cowell. A town well known for its oysters, its fishing and crabbing. Chasing the blue swimmer crabs was our main goal for today. Apparently there's plenty around. We are only using 4 nets and we're lifting them about every 10 minutes.
It's 20.
Yep.
Yes.
2! What's how many is that now? 36.
Yeah, that's 36.
We've got a beer keg. It's been modified to be a crab burner. In a basket, we put all the crabs in there. We fit 20 in there at a time. Steam the whole lot, takes no time at all. Alright, time to start loading up the baskets with crabs. And keep them in a nice slurry. It puts them to sleep straight away. It's a pretty humane way to do it. And they don't tend to knock each other about as much. Keeps them in good nick. The size of these crabs are definitely not to be sneezed at. That's just your average crabs that we're getting out here. We've got our 40 crabs in about 2.5 hours. And apparently that's not uncommon here. Righto, I've had a beer while we're waiting. And they're ready to go. I mean, the size of that, it's a bloody ripper. Straight into the ice slurry, cool them down, stop them cooking, give them 5 minutes in there and they'll be ready to eat. After sharing our catch with other travellers in the park, we're heading up through Port Augusta and on towards Peterborough.
Quite pretty winding through these hills.
Peterborough has a great overnight RV stop on the south side of town, and there's also a great water filling point adjacent to the main street. This town is rich in railway history, and at its peak, Peterborough had over 100 trains passing through a day.
A lot of roadkill out here.
On to Broken Hill to restock, and then on towards Silverton.
Welcome to Outback, New South Wales. Broken Hill 48.
Silverton is about 25 kilometres from Broken Hill. The Mad Max 2 movie was filmed in this area in the early 80s. One of the cars from the movie is parked outside the pub. The Silverton pub building is full of character and has been used as a prop in many movies and displays some of the different signboards out the back. The Mad Max 2 Museum is owned and run by Adrian and Linda Bennett. They were kind enough to allow us to film in here. They've been collecting everything from vehicles to photos from this movie for many, many years. They've opened the museum in 2010.
Oh, this looks real here. This looks all from the new film.
They have a huge collection of vehicles, bikes, buggies and props, right down to the gyrocopter. If you have ever seen this movie, you would recognise this car, the Interceptor. The Mundy Lookout is just on the outskirts of town. It's one of the few places you can see the curvature of the earth, and it's a brilliant place to watch a sunset.
You can see why they used this area for the Mad Max 2 movie.
We're travelling the back roads towards Tibooburra. It's mostly all gravel, so we'll pull up and drop our tyre pressures. This makes a huge difference to how the car and van handle on the rough roads. Lower pressures allow the tyres to flex more and absorb the first point of impact.
Always got to leave the gates how you find them. Gate number 2. So many gates.
Yep, but that's the passenger's job.
My turn to drive for a while, his turn to do some gates.
After leaving Silverton yesterday, we've travelled about 200 kilometres of dirt road. This is where we camped last night. There's no traffic noise out here, and today we'll join up with the main road from Broken Hill to Tibooburra. Before we head off, we dust-proof our van by putting a piece of foam in the top of the watertight door, so no dust gets through the vent in the main door, and of course we double check that the gas is off.
Finally, we hit the turn off onto the main road. We definitely did take the long way around, that's for sure. We're back on the bitumen.
The salt lakes are easily visible from the main road between Broken Hill to Tibooburra. It's hard to comprehend the size of these salt lakes. They would take up thousands and thousands of acres. Packsaddle Roadhouse is a great stop for fuel and for a bite to eat. It was tempting also to have a cold one. Instead, we settled to have a look around at all the old gear from a bygone era. At each one of the 3 entrances to Tibooburra, there are a series of silhouettes. This one is the Musterers. The other ones are an Explorer's theme and a Miner's theme. These are all made by one of the locals from 6mm plate steel. Tibooburra is an old gold mining outback town, and it's the gateway to the Sturt National Park and to Cameron Corner. Well, yesterday we had our first breakage. The Anderson plug, the charge lead that goes from the car to the van. Somehow it's come undone and dragged on the ground, and it's buggered. But I do have a spare, so I've just got to change that over. We'll go from there. I've just got to press these back and push the pins out, and then hopefully they just pop out. There we go. That's got both of them done. And that's it. So that's the damaged one, and that's the good one. Now just clean the contact points up, file them, get them nice and smooth because I've burred them up a little bit. That one there's got to come a little bit further forward because that little silver clip there holds it in. Like that. After our quick little repair, we took a drive to check out the town. We came across this balancing rock. It really does make you wonder. The lookout offers a great view over the town and the surrounding countryside. Sure is plenty of rocks out here.
Kev fits in pretty well with the Explorer's theme at this entrance.
We found it strange a town this size would have two hotels, almost directly across the road from one another. This one has the fanciest bar top we've ever seen. The timber comes from the owner's property. The cracks in the timber were filled with gold dust, and then an epoxy resin was placed over the top. This pocket watch was done in a very similar manner. Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Must be time for a beer.
The railway spikes that have been used here came from the old Garn Railway.
We're heading out to Cameron Corner, where the three states meet: Queensland, New South Wales and South Australia.
Go through the gate, and that takes us into, well, South Australia.
New South Wales into South Australia. All the roads are open, it says.
This is the official marker for the junction of the three states, and just beside it is the dog fence. In the next episode, we travel from Cameron Corner to Toowoomba via the Dig Tree and stop at the town of Eromanga to check out the Eromanga dinosaurs.